the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up!
Well, hello everybody to another episode of This is CorbinCenter, and as you know, I always like to start off with a little recognition. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to give this one to my friend Steph. She actually requested it because one thing that she does is she watches all my videos. And when I say watch, I mean she leaves them on so that the views come through. And when we were hanging out, she was like, you know, I'm such a great friend. I help you all the time. I should get the shout out on this one. Which makes me think that you do watch the videos enough for me to give you a shout out. So I'm going to do it here, but just this one time. It's not even that I'm giving you what you want out of spite. And the other reason too is I don't think you're listening to the audio when this is actually playing, so I'm trying to see if it does. So I will know when this releases if you actually know that I gave you credit for it. But that's one of the fun things about this recognition. Let's see if you actually paid attention. But let's jump into this. Now, I don't really have a lot as far as me talking about. I mean, I got some stuff that I'm planning for the summer, but I'm still kind of off for the weekend. I didn't really have anything, but first of all, let's talk about this. I have not seen the pay-per-view. I have not seen Revolution, but by what I heard, it was amazing. When you are able to pull off an Iron Man match, I will be trying to find this and watch it, and I want to make sure I give the proper due, so I'm not going to just like try and pirate it, but I want to watch it. But I was seeing the promo that came aboard from Danielson in regards to this, and again, I never thought that MJF was losing this match, but I knew that this would be one hell of a match, and also the repercussions coming out of it. But is there anybody who is as good as making you feel something, emotion in wrestling, which we always ask for, than Bryan Danielson? I mean, come on, the promo, the heartstrings, the touching on the sheer love of wrestling, but also the balance of family, just the balance in general, something that we always go through as pro wrestlers, and realizing that sometimes you have to, this thing that you love so much that you have to sacrifice it, and that when you sacrifice it, there's for reasons, and that your life, your priorities change. And maybe when you were a young kid, and you would fight for everything. And as somebody who's coming off a recent injury, like, you know, I've always heard you fight through it, you push through it, you always do this. But now the thought is, when you get hurt, you know, why? You could be out 2 to 3 months, but you could fight through it and push through it, and it could be irreversible damage. But the way he made you feel, that's amazing. What a I mean, truly, genuine, I think, in the stage of somebody who's had to go through retirement, who's had a struggle of concussions, I believe that those words are from the heart, and that turned up to 11. I think that was absolutely amazing, and I always want to focus on positive things here, and I'm going to focus on some negative things, but I want to focus on positives. I want to go through that. But let me bring up some other stuff here that I noticed. This one was interesting to me. You know, whenever we say that we need more stability in pro wrestling, people to bring us up and lift us up and be a pillar for us, I don't think anyone's talking about using a tree stump in this sense. And this made the rounds with the tree stump holding up the wrestling ring. I mean, could you imagine where you're like, how's the ring feeling out there today? Are any of the boards loose? Well, not the boards, but their grandfather, because, you know, boards and a stump, they got to be related in some way, trees or whatever. Maybe they get, you know, like, get it? Because it's all wood. But the idea, like, first of all, I don't know where you get your rings or where you build your rings or whatever it is. I know High Spot sells them. But if you were to get a ring and you were like, oh crap, the post doesn't reach the ground, so your thought is that you're going to grab wood and make a giant stump on there. And I guess, you know, you could make this argument. You could go with it and say, hey, you know, like, if you put a ring skirt over it, it won't matter. Nobody's going to see it. Well, then, you know, the internet exists and everybody saw it. But, like, in my mind, why did you not just buy a wrestling... Like, in my opinion, if you were, like... First of all, metal frame, everything metal frame, and your first thought was wood. Okay, cool. I mean, like, maybe if you put an extended post, or even if there was something that was, like, another metal rod that was set for... I don't know. Whatever it was... There's a lot of things that I see where it's like, you want to try and justify and be like, hey, look, we're resourceful, okay, but maybe just get a ring that touches, like the support frames touch the ground in the first place. I don't know. Well, you know what? Again, I don't know. I don't run wrestling shows. I don't own a ring, so that's the biggest thing. But it's the first time I've ever seen somebody have to use a stump. I've seen people have to be creative on a moment's notice, but not using the stump. Also, if you follow me on social media, which I hope you do, you know, my socials are always at the end of these videos, you probably have noticed that I've been a little block friendly, and that's totally fine by me. Here's the deal, I got so sick and tired of putting energy into people who don't need my time. It started a long time ago on my Facebook fan page when somebody tried to always act like they were clowning on me, like trying to take shots at me, which I thought was funny. In the sense of not like haha funny, but like what's wrong with you funny, where like people would take shots at me for like my win-loss record or what. This guy was like, and what are you trying to accomplish? That's always what I think on this one. Like, what's your point? What are you trying to accomplish? And it would be like I would post a show flyer, and you'd be like, oh, here looks like another loss is coming up. What's your record this summer? It's like, get the hell out of here. Like, I create, you know, I talk about my Patreon being a really good community, and that's true, that's absolutely, but I think my fan page is exactly the same way. And if you want to go be negative somewhere, go be negative somewhere else, but why would you join my fan page to try and put yourself over on me? First of all, how pathetic is that? Like, do you think you have an online character? Oh, cool. Well, that makes me, saying it out loud makes me think I should have blocked you faster. But anyway, I had to use it recently on Twitter. I threw it out there on Twitter because somebody, you know, like I said, what's your favorite place, or what's the weirdest place that you've ever wrestled? And the response, first of all, was your mom's room or something like that. And let me first put it this way. When I read that, one, it was so fastly replied. Like, for example, it was within like the first couple minutes that I put that up. And it came up and I read it and I was just like, oh, what a lame joke. Like, it's not even funny. It's, even if it was played out as it is, it's still not funny. Like, it's dumb, like, and like that fast, like that means that that's your go-to thing. Like, your go-to thing is that comment, and also if your go-to thing is that fast and that's your comment and you put it on there, that means that you didn't even take any extra time to be like, how could I make this better? You're just like, yep, good enough. Well, it's good enough to hit the block button because also you have no profile pic, so I got rid of you. So that was the biggest thing. I don't need your kind of stupid jokes and humor on here, and a lot of times people online think they're very funny, and they're not. So there was that, and then the other one happened on my fan page. I shared my Higher Ground 2 posters that I have. I'm very excited about going back to Higher Ground coming up here in the summer. And a long time ago when Higher Ground was putting a poster, they put it up, and somehow, some way, somebody who used to work for WCW as a backstage interviewer caught wind of it and decided to go on a tirade about how it was such a very white dominant poster, even though there were people of color on there. And as much as he tried to defend himself, the amusing thing is, when he was defending himself, he would either not acknowledge the people of color, and then he said that it was disrespectful because there was no women featured, or there was no people of color. And then when the people of color or women would respond and say, hey, this is the promotion, I was a champion there, he would basically tell them, like, they have no place to say what they're saying. So, like, he was saying that no one was giving an amplified voice, but when they would speak against him and say that he was wrong, he would basically dismiss them as, like, what their voice was saying was wrong. So what makes me think is that you're just there to complain. And again, when you don't listen to people's views and when you don't listen to what they have to say, clearly you're just in it for an argument and your own. And again, if you're going to fight for somebody, and when you fight for a certain group of people and then they tell you that you're wrong, you're wrong. Plain and simple. Like, I'm not going to tell a bunch of people, like, if you were to tell, I don't know, ginger people, like, if you were like, all you redheads, like, you deserve to be represented. I was like, I'm actually represented really well in this company. And you're like, look, Ginger, calm down. I'm telling you, you should be not happy with your place on the card. Oh, that seems weird. Like, I'm actually, okay, whatever. But long story short, somebody who's never posted on my fan page all of a sudden took a moment to tag him in my fan page. So somebody who's never posted before snitch tagged this guy to be in this page and complain more just to stir the pot. And it was not Jim Cornette. That's what I say. I'm always like, he wasn't snitch tagging Cornette, because whenever we hear snitch tagging, we think Cornette. So the deal is they brought him in. And before I could even get to the page, the only thing I saw is he said, "Oh, grunge," or whatever. And I was just like, I know where this is going. So first of all, if your only reason to be on my fan page is, first of all, this isn't even my event. It's an event I'm a part of, and I'm sharing the flyer. And if you jump in to bring that to my fan page, this is on my fan page, I block you. And then I don't need to hear your opinion. I remember seeing all this stuff. And like the thing is here's the deal. Darin, don't you want to hear both sides of the story? No, I don't care all the time. Like, sometimes if I respect you or I think you have a very valid point, I'll absolutely listen to you. But the funny thing about it is, what I've noticed in a lot of arguments online is I've seen this, where people always say, shouldn't you hear both sides? And the person who says that instantly completely disregards somebody's voice in some way, shape, or form. And let's face it, no one goes online to argue to actually find a common ground. And that's not what I'm here about. So when I see this, I know how this is going to play out. I know how this is going to logically play out, because if you actually had a problem with me and thought that this was a thing, you would just message me personally or privately and just be like, hey, what do you think about this? And we would talk about it. But now what you're doing is you're just trying to do it for clout. And that's it. Look at how good of a debater I am. Look how good of how good at arguing I am. Look at the words that I use. I'm very, very fancy. Now, I could sit here and talk about this and make it look like that what I'm doing is, as I speak to all of you, maybe the idea is that I am doing the exact same thing. I'm kind of here preaching. But you know what the funny thing is when you come here to watch This is CorbinCenter, Darin Corbin is going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about things that affect me, and that's just how it works. So if you don't feel like it, just like how everybody always says, if it's not for you, you don't have to watch. But you know what I do? I do appreciate the people who do, because right now there's a lot of you who have known me for quite a while who are like, and I do appreciate you. So let's get one thing straight. There's a lot of you who watch this show, and there's a lot of you that watch a lot, or that participate on my social media, that really do crack me up. Your comments rule. I think we have great discussions, and I want to keep that. So I don't want these other punks ruining that for us. I want to have a lot of fun, which means that also let me wrap it up with my upcoming schedule, because those are the optimist parts. Obviously, I got the VFW show that's coming up. I'm going back to GalaxyCon. Looking forward to that. Going to Destination Pro because the talent made it happen. Big deal. You should book me, because actually you know that when I'm on the show, people are entertained and people have a good time and people are talking. Because at the last one I was injured and I still got people talking more than some of the matches on the card. Also, I'll be back at Battleground in April. I got my 10K race in April. Whoo! Busy, busy, busy. And I don't even want to talk about summer yet, because we've gone way too long. So, we've covered a lot of topics on this one. But let me just say, if you're somebody who has interacted with me, we've joked, we've gone back and forth, we've shared memes, Simpsons memes, all those things. We've talked jokingly back and forth, we've shared quibs, whatever it is, I'm cool with you. And if you're somebody who's like, I don't want to get probably not what you got to worry about, because you're probably not a tool. So, thank you for watching CorbinCenter and for being a Corbinite.
Don't be scared.